Welcome back to Fire to Fork, and welcome to, I'd say it's a review, but I've got to go like full disclosure here. I'm sponsored by Cub Campers. So there is an inherent bias in the fact that I work with them. I am an Australian ambassador for them. I'm not, I can't say that this is a completely unbiased review because I do work with them. However, I am trying my absolute best to make it the most unbiased review and give you the most straightforward explanation of how it has been having this camper for a year. So, yeah, as I said, they're a sponsor. There's nothing I can do about that, but I still want to communicate to you how it has been having this camper. And if that is too much, if there's too much bias in that, no worries. Not the video for you, but I will tell you the bad things about it. Don't worry about that. There aren't many, don't worry. Okay, we're gonna start at the start. So one thing I did when I spec'd this camper, I should say, I specified everything on this camper. So it's not like Cub just went, here's a camper, take it. I filled out the form and spec'd every option and extra that I wanted to fit my purpose. Now, some of the things that I regret are simply my decision. I should have spec'd it differently, okay? So, extended drawbar, one of the best things I did. It works so well. I can open the door of the Prado fully and it clears the actual frame of the camper. So I can have the camper actually folded out and I can drive around and I can open the door fully. Now, that is because of the extended drawbar, and this is about 150 mils longer. This is a solid tow hitch, but 150 mils longer than standard. I know it looks really long, but that's where it comes out of the car. So it's only about maybe even 100 mils longer. It's only a tiny bit longer, and that makes it just perfect with a single door car. Also great because it gets it out from underneath the bin bag. If you look at my bin bag here, come around, the hitch would sit underneath here usually if I didn't have that slightly longer drawbar. Now, on the front, the DO35 has been great. It got jammed up once because it had a bit of sand and stuff in it, and a couple of light taps with a hammer, and Bob's your uncle, it was fine. I've never had a tow hitch that didn't get jammed up from time to time, so overall been really, really good. Upgraded jockey wheel, which we did later on. Because I do a lot of off-road and I want to be able to use this skid for recoveries, this is a Max Trax trailer skid. I did go for an ARC 750 XL, and that has been fantastic. Number one, because I rarely use the stabilizers on the camper trailer, because honestly, it just doesn't really bother me because I'm often solo, so I don't really mind if it wobbles because it's only me wobbling it. So a lot of the time, the only stabilizing I'll do is side to side with some Max Trax or something, and then height, which I'll just do with the jockey wheel. I don't need there's nothing else to level. So having this jockey wheel that can go really high and really low has been fantastic. Moving back, it carries 40 litres of jerry cans at the front, so 2 jerry cans, and 2 4.5 kilo gas bottles. The jerry cans are great because it allows me to run into town and get water. For example, right now we're camped here in one spot for a week, so I can just grab the jerry cans out, run into town and fill up. It's got 180 litres of water underneath, so all up 220 of water. That is tons for a very long time. I mean, we're one day away from leaving and we've got 80 litres left. So, if that's an indication. And I'm here with, little Billy, who has a bath every night. So, and Fred and Sam and 2 4.5 kilo gas bottles. I don't use the gas cooker very often. The only thing I ever use it for really is heating up food for Bill. I will occasionally heat up my own lunch or something if I can't be bothered lighting a fire, but it has actually been quite nice having a gas cooker again because I haven't had one in about 5 years. So, because I don't always need a fire. Like right now I don't have a fire going, especially again because of Bill. He's a toddler. I don't really want a fire going all the time because he can walk into it. So yeah. So the gas bottles are mainly used for the hot water system, and I'll get onto the hot water system now, but I've worked out I get about 20 nights, 20 days of hot water out of a 4.5 kilo gas bottle, and I've got 2 of them, so plenty. It's about 20 bucks to fill a gas bottle, so about $1 a day of kind of like a 24-hour thing. The other thing I've got, also at the front is this load storage area, which you would have seen before when the camper is closed. That I use for everything. I put a chainsaw on it, I put firewood on it, I put swags on it. It's like a ute tray, and it's got good tie down points. In fact, it's got good tie down points the whole way across. I remember for the full drive show, I used it a lot for transporting stuff. Usually I'd have to do, you take your camp trailer somewhere and then I got to go and get all my boxes of merch and stuff. I just use this like a box trailer because it's got such a huge amount of storage on top, and it's got good tie down points the whole way across. I can strap stuff to it. In fact, I had to go and get some furniture the other day. You'd think I'd, go and hire a ute or borrow a mate's box trailer or something. No, I actually hitched up my camper trailer to go and get the wardrobe, and I threw the wardrobe on top of that because why not? It's a big flat deck with tie down points. It works perfectly. All right, come round. Oh, this thing is a reflective solar insulating blanket. They're from Middleton Outfitters or Discounters or something. I'm trying to remember how you pronounce it. Anyway, the name will be on the screen. This is amazing, absolutely amazing. I do recommend putting a strap over it in windy environments because it can slap a little bit. It used to be, at the moment it's about 22 degrees or something. Inside a single layer of canvas, it gets hot. There's no way of getting around that. So having this thing, it used to, in this kind of environment, it used to maybe have been like 30 degrees. This is assuming obviously that everything is closed up, so it's dark so that you can sleep in there. Right now, it is cooler inside the camper than it is outside. It's beautiful. It's well insulated, it's dark. This in the summer months, makes a world of difference. All right, I just want to quickly step in here. Now, here I was just talking about how I don't really use it in cold environments, this blanket. We actually worked out, Sam and I, over a couple of nights, we had a couple of really cold nights just after this one. And we went, okay, cool, we'll rug up like we normally would and we'll put the extra blanket on and all that kind of stuff. And we both found ourselves actually quite warm. That blanket over the top, we reckon it makes like a pretty dramatic difference to how much warmer it was inside the camper. And I previously didn't run it in winter because I thought, well, how much difference could it really make? I will definitely be running that in winter now. It makes a huge difference. It's actually a lot warmer. It's a lot better with Bill in there. As he sort of wriggles and doesn't stay in the bed properly and stuff. So very happy with him just in a sleep suit on top of the blankets because he was warm as toast, we were warm as toast. It's certainly not too hot, and it actually is a lot cooler than it would keep it cooler during the day and stuff. But yeah, I will definitely be running that blanket from now on, winter and summer. It's really, really good, really good. This has been great, plenty of storage. This tunnel here goes all the way through. What do you got in there, Fred? What do you got? So in here I've got a huge big shower tent. I've got all the poles for everything. I've got shovels, what else? Lights and toilet paper. And there's still tons of room in there, tons of room. This front one here is very satisfying because it fits an Osprey camp bri perfectly. Osprey travel bri, a little tripod, some straps, and I throw a crash mat in there usually. I've got this extra strap here because, as I said, it was flapping a little bit, so I just threw that last minute. It's very messy, but it does the job. This big compartment here carries the canvas for the awning, all my cooking gear, a few crash pods, kettle. It's just a random storage area, and it's huge. I mean, I could get in there. I reckon I could get in there. Shower is great. It is a shower, so this is the mixer. It just pops on like this. Mixer built in, hot water shower. There you go, Fred. There you go, man. And that's great. I love these little awning bits because it means I can open that up and still have a bit of shade and a rain protection while getting a bit of airflow through it. That's the exhaust for the hot water system. 15 amp inlet. Look, the wheels and tires are a 31 and they've been perfect. I haven't really, yeah, they've been plenty grippy. I haven't had the trailer slide around or anything. The suspension on it is really nice. It's got twin shocks. But the thing I really like about it is on corrugations, it just glides. You know, even looking at the videos of it on corrugations, it seems to handle as well as the Prado, and the Prado handles extremely well. 2 water tanks, I actually numbered them, so I know which one's which. And to switch, you can switch between tanks manually. So it's got like a little valve under each one, so that's good. You can pick which tank you're using. I opted for Red Vision. Red Vision, I didn't opt for Red Vision in the Prado, and I regret it. I should have. Red Vision is awesome. I initially said, oh, but you know, I like to be able to use switches for all my lights. It doesn't replace switches. It's just an extra switch. So it might not sound like much, but if I leave all my switches on and stuff, the fact that I can just go bang, 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 and can control everything from here, and then later on I don't have to go around the camper and hit every switch. If I've left an interior light on, or if I've left the inverter on or something like that, that is inside the camper that I can't access when it's all closed up, the fact that I can turn the power source for everything off from here is honestly invaluable. It's really, really useful. Also a good little storage area. It's got 200 amps of lithium, and I have never even touched the sides of it. It's, I've got it down to 25% once, but that was filming for Channel 7, and we had all kinds of 240 volt studio lights running off the inverter, and that really pushed it. Not a normal camping situation. For normal camping, even with filming and charging on my camera gear and doing all that stuff, with a 300 watt blanket, it is more than enough. It's absolutely great. In fact, like even running the the electric blanket, we call it a hot water blanket because it's just a habit. The electric blanket overnight drops it down. We ran it all night and it used about 15% of the battery. So, and then it charged up the next day, no worries on solar. Now, the boxes on the back are an option, and an option I strongly suggest. They are, oh sorry, just something quickly with the extended drawbar. I keep thinking about that. A few people I know have bought Cubs and they haven't got extended drawbars. You need to spec that. You need to do it, like really work out if you need an extended drawbar early, because it's not something you can retrofit because the chassis is a different shape. Something like these boxes you can retrofit. The extended drawbar, I think for most cars that do heavy off-roading, you should have an extended drawbar. I think it's really, really, really useful. I think unless you have kind of a stubby-tailed ute with no tire on the back or anything, I think you should have an extended drawbar. Just putting that out there. Now, these boxes on the back, they've been fantastic. I keep sort of water hoses and things like that, but the main thing is they're sealed. You can see all the dust on the outside and it's completely clean on the inside. So I actually keep a little Ryobi pump in here, and that is so that I can fill my water tanks with the jerry cans, because I don't have a spout on my jerrys, and that works well. So that's just a transfer pump. Under there's recovery gear, and the other side is tools and Ryobi, like, you know, rattle guns and things like that. I've got a K-On Max Tracks mount. Now, I don't use these as recovery tracks, I just use them as leveling tracks. And what I've done is I've got one mini Max Track, and then one is actually a base. It's a jacking base. So that's the bottom of a normal Max Track, and that's the jacking base one. So you put this upside down, and then you use your jack on that. And that's also good for your your jockey wheel as a base. But I use the skid usually as the base for the jockey wheel. So I just use this mainly for leveling the wheels. Small, light, useful, good for if you do need to jack it up and change a wheel. If I was to offer some advice, not advice, if I was to change something about this camper, this is what I'd change. I would prefer this to be on one of the boxes. The number plate and lights to be on one of the boxes. Now, I know not all of them have boxes, and I'm sure they have their reasons for not putting it to the side, but the reason I'd like that is so that I could put a bin bag on this, because bin bags on spare wheels are super useful. I don't know if there's another reason why not, like if it's strong enough or whatever, but yeah, that's one bit of advice I'd like. It's also got two big recovery points at the back. They're fantastic. I have actually used them. I snatched the whole shooting match out, so we're talking about 5 ton all up. That's the Prado and the camper, fully loaded. I mean, fully loaded. Heaps of water, heaps of wood, chainsaw, like ready for a week off grid. And yeah, it snatched the whole shooting match out, no worries. So yeah, it comes with a sidewall. I also opted for the draft skirt. I haven't used the draft skirt in anger, like I haven't needed it. It might be useful if you had the wind coming from the other direction, but yeah, so far, I don't know the draft skirt is essential. This sidewall here is great because it creates a nice little sort of room in here and it protects your cookers and stuff from wind. But I use this as kind of our general purpose crap area. Stuff that I don't want visible, but I want to be out of the weather and it's not in the way, because this is not a thoroughfare for anything. You can open these up, by the way, so you can let light in and stuff. That's not a thoroughfare for anything, so it's a great place to put things that would usually just be annoying. Okay, other things that I've optioned on it. I optioned this side table, and look how much stuff is on it. It is so useful. It is ridiculously useful. That is brilliant. Now, I said I'd mention the hot water system, and I will. The hot water system might be my favorite thing on this camper. It genuinely might. It's one of the, it almost feels like we're not camping because of the hot water system. It's the thing that people mention the most is that, they go and do the washing up. Other campers will come and do their washing up here because it is just so convenient. Now, a lot of people use the old bucket method. I opted for like a drain hose on my sink. You can use the bucket, but that's only because we go through so much water that I end up filling up the bucket too quickly. And I just dig a decent hole, and I don't put anything down there that I wouldn't be happy to bury. So it's got, maybe a bit of rice and some food scraps and stuff like that, but it's mainly just water, and I use an environmentally friendly detergent. So the hot water system is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. In here, I just keep my utensils and whatnot, a couple of chopping boards, a couple of lighters, usual stuff. This is quite a small compartment, so I just put thin things in here, so some hand wash and washing up gloves and stuff. A couple of power outlets here that power this, but I haven't got them plugged in because I haven't been needing it. It's also got a big strip light that goes all the way around, but I've been filming, so I've actually just been using my filming light instead of putting that up. But that strip light is great. It gives a really nice even light, and it's, very effective. 96 litre fridge, just chucked this one in. It performed perfectly so far, but I don't, it's still early days. So yeah, plenty of room in here. Between the two, I've got an 82 in the car and a 96 here, 178 litres of fridge. I'm not struggling at all. I've got, there's just so much room in here. This is the first time I've ever had it even close to full, and it's about 2/3. And I've packed it so inefficiently. I just chuck whatever I want in there. This step has been great. When it's on a big angle, like when we're on really uneven ground, I do actually carry a second step, but that's only because my wife's tiny. And I definitely recommend the 6 by 2.4 meter Sea-Gear multi-mat because it fits perfectly under the camper. It's exactly the same width as the awning. And it's just so good at getting rid of sand. If you look here, see there's sand here. If I just give it a wipe, it all just disappears through the mat. That is a godsend for beach camping. And we've done it with a friend who had a PVC mat, and theirs just turned into a giant bucket of sand, and ours was constantly clean. And all of them went, I don't know what we're doing. Forget that. We're never doing it. Never camping like that again. We are getting one of these, and they did. Over here, something I use a lot. Pantry. Bit of a mess, but this is the reality. This is, as I said, like day 6 of camping. 1.4 meters long. It's huge and really useful, easy to use. Just The only downside of this pantry is that it means you can pack so much stuff. So you just need to limit yourself. That's like honestly the only downside I can think of for this pantry is, yeah, it allows you to bring the kitchens. I've got a kitchen sink. Yeah, you get what I mean. All right, let's go inside. All right, so inside, plenty of room. So this is what they call a cub king. So it's about the width of a queen and the length of a king. It's a huge mattress and it is so comfortable. It's 135mm inner sprung with a pillow topper. We've also got a single electric blanket on this side, which you just plug into this little 12-volt outlet here. In here is the hot water system. In those two is storage, and that one's got an inverter in it as well. So I've still got the cords and stuff on the floor. Now, if you look around, this is how it usually looks, although with less bags. So around the kitchen area here, we don't usually use this for sitting because we're camping, right? We want to actually be camping. So a lot of the time we'll leave this as the queen bed, which it is a queen, it folds down to a queen bed. But when we're camping, it is really nice to be able to get out of the wind. And this is, you can move this wherever you want. So we'll leave that stuff there so we can access our clothes and whatnot. And then we'll leave you usually just need one bit of bench so that we can feed Bill or have some dinner or whatever, if it is really windy. I work here sometimes, and that's great because I've got the power and stuff, so I can easily just edit and work from my laptop here. Most trips, this is a great storage area and a great getting changed area and things like that when it's just a flat base. And then for longer trips, we'll turn it into the dinette. But reality is we like camping, we like being outside. We spend most of our time outside. So great versatility for when the weather is crap. And also great because as Billy gets older, and if we have a second kid, this is going to be a great bed for him or them. Now, in here, we've also got a bunch of storage. And if you look out here under the bed, there are a bunch of storage pockets. Now, they don't look huge. See this tiny little one here at the end? I can fit 2 cartons of beer in there. I'm going to put them in 6-pack at a time, but 2 cartons of beer. That's how big these are. They are massive. It doesn't seem like a huge amount, but if you think about that volume of storage that goes back about that far, it's a huge amount of storage. Absolutely huge. Like, there's packets of nappies in there. This is all, like, there's so much gear in here that it's not even funny. And it just sort of hides away. There's also a stereo, which we've used in bad weather. But most of the time, I use a Bluetooth speaker outside because a lot of the time Bill is sleeping inside. So yeah, we tend to have a music system outside, but that's just personal preference. It is actually really nice to have something that runs off the lithium because you don't need to recharge anything, and because we've got so much power in the system, it's may as well access that. A really nice point, just finally on the power system in here, next to the bed there are 2 reading lamps, and there are twin USBs on each side. We use them every night. We run a little white noise machine for Billy, phone chargers, and I'll often just have a camera or my head torch or something like that. I'll plug my head torch in. End of the night, you've usually been using your head torch to pack things up. I leave the cords in there. I have an iPhone cord on each one, and a USB-C and a micro USB permanently plugged in over there. So whenever we need to plug in, we just plug in. And that's honestly one of those little luxuries that, having come from Swags and Tents, I didn't know I'd love so much, but I absolutely love it. All right. So general thoughts. I guess I'll start with the things that people kept telling me were going to suck about this camper. The awning. It takes about 8 minutes to put up. It's obviously a lot slower than a car awning. Have I found that annoying? Nah, not really. It's can be a little bit fiddly in windy weather, like any awning, but when you're doing it solo, if you've got 2 people, it's easy. But I did it here in windy Esperance, solo, and it was fine. Like, yeah, it probably took me 15 minutes because I really took my time and pegged everything in like really carefully and like adjusted things bit by bit. But I'm here for a week. Who cares about 15 minutes? And that was, you know, putting double pegs in. I dug holes for all the pegs and all that stuff. Anyway, hasn't, honestly, look, if I'm just pulling up overnight and I'm on a road trip and I'm just pulling in the evening and then pack up first thing in the morning, I don't put the awning out because I don't put that awning out either, unless it's raining. Yeah, so it has not been annoying at all. The other thing that people kept saying is, oh, the canvas is going to be so loud. Canvas is not loud at all. I've been in plenty of windy environments in this thing, like very windy, and the canvas doesn't make any noise. The flapping of the insulated cover made a bit of noise a couple of nights ago, and I just chucked a strap over it. But the canvas, the loudest thing I've heard in really windy environments is the wind going through the trees, not the canvas. The canvas doesn't flap, it doesn't make any noise. You have to remember that wind is usually constant, and it's not like it's going boom, boom, boom. So the canvas doesn't flap because it's taut. It just has pressure on it on one side, and that's totally fine. It doesn't make any noise. So no, the canvas has been great. Now, towing it, how does it tow? Really well. It is so good off-road. It is really, really good off-road. This whole thing, this 5.85 meter long camper trailer, only weighs 1,185 kilos. Now, I loaded it up and then I took it to the weighbridge. So I put 220 litres of water in and I put, you know, chainsaw on and I put all the gear, and it came out at 1.78 tons. So yes, granted 220 kilos of water, plus a couple of gas bottles, plus, you know, like there's probably, by the time you've filled everything, it's probably closer to sort of 1450, I'd say, that kind of thing. And then I've added kind of like 300 kilos of stuff, and that's fine. That's it. I mean, imagine if we were starting at like 1.7, like some of the campers of similar size and spec. You'd be well into the, you know, mid twos. So yeah, it's great. It's also got an ATM of 1920, so that means I'm allowed to load it up to 1920, and I'm not even close to that while fully loaded. So yeah, I mean, it's been a really, really, really nice thing to tow. My fuel economy goes from about 11 to about sort of 14 and a half with it fully loaded. And as far as I'm concerned, that is so fine to tow, you know, 1.8 ton. But that's, you know, that's more to do with my car than anything else, you know. So what am I going to do now? Cub said I could have it for a year, and spoke to them. They said I can keep it for another year. So I'm just going to keep using it and keep enjoying it and keep going camping with my family like I am now. And I'll let you know how I go in another year, and if there's anything else I'd change. But honestly, I just can't wait to keep using it. Really happy with it. I have since, I mean, I haven't even told Cub this, but I've since been offered a bunch of different camper trailers since I started towing, and from different brands, and there's nothing else I want. I can genuinely say there's nothing else I want. I don't want a hybrid. I don't want a side fold. I don't want anything else. And no, this is the only Australian made forward fold. I want a forward fold. This is the only Australian made forward fold. It's the best quality on the market. I wouldn't change it, no matter what. So yeah, that is 100% genuine. I really, really like this thing. So thanks for watching. Also, somewhere in this episode there'll be a code word, and make sure you comment that code word down below for a chance to win my book. Cheers.